I'm just gonna dance. I'm just gonna dance a little bit. We'll add that into the cut.
The problem with doing things live, right?
All good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Agile or BS. We love answering your common, frequently asked questions around agility, Agile, Scrum, and all the various frameworks and some of the ceremonies and artifacts as well. Today, we're going to be diving into an interesting idea. It's called a sprint stretch goal. Now, I actually haven't heard of this in a long time from any of the clients that I've been working with. So tell me, Bob, I'll let you take the first crack at it. What is a sprint stretch goal?
Well, a sprint stretch goal is when usually a product owner will take what the team says they can do in a sprint and say, well, hey, can we have as a stretch goal these extra item or two? And the team basically has to decide whether they put that in their sprint backlog or not, but it's a goal beyond what the team set as a goal. So it's something they're going to have to stretch for and get to. So Peter, given that as a background, what do you think? Is it Real Agile or is it BS?
Well, I'm gonna say that it's BS, and the reason is maybe mostly coming from me and maybe a little bit of a context and bias as an engineer and developer. For me, if I put myself in the seat of a developer and you say, hey, Peter, here you've committed to 10 stories, this sprint, and here's an 11th, which is a stretch goal. For me, from my developer bias, I'm ignoring that, to be quite frank. I'm ignoring it because I've spent all this time working with the product owner, functionally breaking down that business requirement, that user story in development task. I've committed to these 10 stories that I'm going to be delivering here, and you're going to add this other one that we haven't really talked about. I'm pretty much going to ignore it as a developer. And so I find stretch goals in a lot of cases to be something that I think placates and makes the product owner feel good that they could potentially be getting more. But in many cases, I see it as an undue pressure, especially if you work in a culture where there is a lot of pressure, maybe more command and control culture of sorts, where it's deadline driven, and I get that. But adding that a little bit extra in beyond what we've discussed, it adds a lot of anxiety and dissonance to the entire process. But that's my opinion coming from a developer. I think it's BS. Because if I was a developer, I'm not looking at it.
I think even if you're not a developer, if you just think about the way that this would work in the real world, I think there's a lot of studies out there, and you would know more than I do because of your background, but everything I look at says when you set a stretch goal, people actually perform worse because they can strive for a goal they believe in, but a goal that they didn't have something part of creating, this stretch goal thing, they just don't even try. And so it just becomes off the table and their effort goes way down. So I think, I don't know whether it's Real Agile or BS, and frankly, I don't care. It's just a dumb idea. I don't know how else you say it, right?
I think you make a great point there. I think it speaks to the heart of agility. So I think you bring up a great point here, Bob, in that so much around agility is collaborative work, right? That's the whole idea of Scrum, which we scrum together, we move the ball forward together, and we have agreed together on a commitment. When someone comes in and adds something, and it doesn't matter if it's called a stretch goal or just a, hey, can you get this in? There's been no conversation about it. There's been no commitment to it. And especially from a developer context, we haven't had the opportunity to break it down and understand the emergent properties of this idea. So it could be a lot larger than we ever imagined. And so because I haven't had a say, I'm completely agree with you here. I mean, it's something that it can be really disruptive, and as you said, and I've read the research on this, it can actually dampen the morale of the team. So I think it's a lose-lose. So whether it's Real Agile or BS, I think it's BS, but I'll also agree with you. It's just a terrible idea to kind of force yourself upon a team. We spent all this time talking about these 10 stories you're going to commit to. Let's just throw this one in as well. That's just no good for anybody.
And this can be done in a very subtle way too, right? I mean, it doesn't have to happen at sprint planning where this product owner says, hey, let's do a little extra as a stretch goal. It can be in the middle of the sprint. Somebody says, oh, by the way, we need this tomorrow. And all of a sudden now you've got a stretch goal of doing that plus the things you committed to. So it can happen in a lot of different ways, but none of them are good. And whether it's Real Agile BS, like I said, I don't really care. It's just not a good idea. I would tend to say it's BS, especially if it comes up in the middle of a sprint, because that's clearly against what Scrum says to do. But we have to be real careful about breaking the trust between developers and stakeholders and product owner. You and I, before this video, we had a little conversation around how you can break trust so easily by just making one small mistake. This would be a mistake like that. You can break the trust bond between the product owner and the team. And once that's broken, the team just doesn't buy in that we're all on the same page. And that's going to affect morale, and that's going to affect performance. I think it's just not only a bad idea, now that I think about it, it's a dangerous idea.
Well, I think you and I has struck an accord here with our agreement. But let us know, everyone out there, all you watchers, all you subscribers, let us know in the comments below if you disagree with us, especially if you're a product owner and you enjoy adding in stretch goals. We'd love to hear your feedback as to why we might be wrong. But thanks again for joining us for this episode of Real Agile or BS. Make sure that you subscribe, you smash the like button, and you check out our new website, agileforall.com, as well as our community site. We're posting lots of content there. We got all of our class students and our clients that are coming in there. It's going to be a great place. So check it out. For next time, we'll see you guys.